The Goin and Chassid Rabbi Dov Zev, or he's known as a better Wolf, Kaz Venikov. There's a picture of him. He was the Rav of Yekatindislav before the Rebbe's father. There's a picture of him in Talis film. And he was known among Chassidim as a peh mapik magorlis. It's an expression, a mouth that pours pearls, a great orator. And his explanations in Chassidus were wondrous, and his language was rich, tremendous teacher. But this was not his natural state. And he merited this from a bracha that's in Tzedek. It's a famous story. And here's the story. So he was born, this Rabbi Be'er Wolf, Dov Zev, in a small town in the Chernigov region of White Russia. In that town, there were Chassidim Lomdim, great Chassidim, who lived there, and they implanted in him the attitude that a Chassid has to seek out to do a favor for his fellow. Chassid, that's it. So listen to this, a 12-year-old kid. 12-year-old, he was already almost versed in the entire Shas, 12 years old, and he was baki in many Agadas Chazal, the stories of the Gemara.
Stama with Rashi and Tosis. With Rashi and Tosis,
Stama, yeah, and many midrashim. So therefore, in this village, in this town, there lived simple Yidden, Amiyah, unlettered. They didn't know even the translation of the words of Daven. And so he was inspired by the example of the Chassidim of his town. So he had a big Rahmanas in them, his child. And he would make time and sit with them and teach them how to daven. And he would tell them stories from the Medrash, from the Gemara, Chazal. And for years he did this. But it was very, very difficult for him because he couldn't speak. He was a kvad peh. He couldn't articulate. What's the word for it? He was...
stuttered.
Yes, he stuttered. It was hard to speak, yeah. And as time went on, it got worse. Till he was almost... couldn't understand what the boy was saying. He was a young teenager. 17 years old. So at 17, he decided he's going to Lubavitch, to Tzemach Tzedek. When he went into Yechidus, he told the Tzemach Tzedek, the Rebbe, of his conduct with the simple folk. And he complained to the Tzemach Tzedek, the difficulties that he cannot communicate to them. The Tzemach Tzedek heard him and was deep in thought for a considerable time. When the Rebbe does this, you know something big is coming. When it's not just a Rebbe. He said to him, continue what you're doing and learn with these simple Lashon Pshutim, and Hashem should bless you with koiches of hasbara, with a clear and Rahuta means flowing language. He walked out of the Tzemach Tzedek's room, tremendous change. Began to speak flowing. When he came to his town, the Chassidim, so when he came to his town, he chazed 3 mamorim that he heard in the Babish from the Tzemach Tzedek. And everybody was in utter amazement at the change, the transformation that happened to him. So he sees, he's 17 years old. So he sees everybody's in shock and amazement. And he said to them, there's the famous quote, I am a GOLEM of the Rebbe. They're referring to the GOLEM of the Maharal of Prague. And he says, and the Rebbe's GOLEM is greater than the GOLEM of the Maharal of Prague made. So they said, why? Why is this a bigger GOLEM? He says, very simple. Says a better vote. The Maharal made a GOLEM from clay, and the Rebbe took flesh and made it a GOLEM. He made a GOLEM from flesh from a mensch. You know, he's a GOLEM that he can speak. It's his doing. It's a gift, Melamayla. So he, the Maharal, made a GOLEM from clay, and the Tzemach Tzedek made from a mensch a GOLEM. Ich bin Rebbe a GOLEM. And he grew up to be the great and much respected and beloved Rav of Yekatindislav, where the Rebbe was born. A wonderful day, everybody.